How you doing? And welcome to Neither Real Music. I'm Ed. This is One Major Method, my weekly series dedicated to the beginner guitar player. Today we're going to be looking at strumming. My goal in this video is to teach you how basic strumming works and help you find some confidence in changing chords. Before we do that, please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications so you know when your next lesson comes up. I want to grow this channel, so every subscription helps tremendously. When you see strumming in music, it's best to understand what you're looking at. In the example that I'm going to show you, you could see 4 measures, and there are 4 quarter notes in each measure. However, the quarter notes don't look like the normal musical notes that we've seen before. These just look like slashes. This is how they represent strumming in music. If you look above the very first measure, you'll see a couple of symbols. One of them is just a down arrow, and the other one looks like a down arrow or a V. That is the symbol for a down strum. If you look underneath all of the measures, you'll see some numbers. These numbers are our beats. When I try to teach people how to strum, I tell them that every time you count a beat with a number on it, in most cases it's a down strum. So if I were to play the example in front of you, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you see a pattern like this, it becomes kind of obvious how you're supposed to work every strum out. However, if all you have to do is play one chord, then strumming wouldn't be so difficult. Let's take a look at this example while switching from the chords D to the chord A. 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, switching from one chord to another in this example doesn't give us a lot of time. What I'm going to do is give you a series of exercises that slowly shrink the amount of time you have to move from one chord to another. So this way, by the end, you feel more confident with your chord change. We're going to be working with chords D and A for these examples. In exercise 1, we're only going to strum on beat number 1. Then you're going to take the side of your hand and touch the strings and mute beats 2, 3, and 4. So let's take a look at exercise 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. In that exercise, I'm using beats 2, 3, and 4 to change from one chord to another. You'll see that there's plenty of time in 3 beats to move from D to A. However, if you do find it difficult, feel free to take this exercise and find a metronome and play it slower. All of my exercises are set at 60 beats on a metronome. It's the tick of a clock. So even if you don't have a metronome, you could look at an old clock and count along to that. I'm going to show you this exercise now for 12 measures. This way you have something to follow along with and practice. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, A, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, 3, 4. A, 2, 3, 4. So that's the beginning. It's a great place to start because it provides you with a lot of time to change from one chord to another. Every beat that goes by, you count, and on beat 1 in this case, you're strumming the chord. Now let's take a look at exercise number 2. Exercise number 2 means that you're going to strum on beats 1, 2, and then mute beats 3 and 4. So here's an example, and then I'll show you how to break it down with 12 measures to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 3, 4. D, 3, 4. D, 3, 4. D, 3, 4. If you find that you're already confident changing D and A, feel free to take these exercises and apply any 2 chords to them. So if you find there are 2 chords that are very difficult for you to work with, you could take these exercises out of this video, set your metronome up, and work those 2 chords out. Now I'm going to break down exercise 2 for 12 measures so that you can practice along. I'll say each chord when they need to be played and count the beats that we're muting. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 3, 4. A, 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 3, 4. You'll see in that exercise that there's 1 beat less time to change from one chord to another. Don't let this bother you. If you just play what you know, you shouldn't have any difficulty moving from one chord to another with only 1 beat difference. As I mentioned toward the beginning of this lesson, I'm shrinking the amount of time you have to move from one chord to another. You'll see that as you become confident with each exercise, you'll become more confident with your chord changes. Now let's take a look at exercise number 3. You would think that we're going to play beats 1, 2, and 3 and mute beat 4. But unfortunately, you're wrong. We're going to strum on beat 1, mute beat 2, strum on beat 3, and mute beat 4 for this exercise. So here's what it sounds like. Let's take a look at exercise 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, D, 4. A, 2, A, 4. D, 2, D, 4. A, 2, A, 4. This exercise provides the least amount of time to change from one chord to another, giving us only 1 beat to move from D to A. However, since you are playing each chord 2 times, if you make a mistake on beat number 1, you could recover and play on beat number 3. If you happen to make a mistake on all of it, skip that measure and just move on to the next measure. Keep your counting going. As long as you're accurate for the next measure, everything will work out. So let's take a look at this for 12 measures so you can practice along. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 2, D, 4. A, 2, A, 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 4. Now we're on to exercise 4. You're going to strum beats 1, 2, 3, and mute beat number 4. As you can see, the only difference between exercise 3 and exercise 4 is the addition of strumming on beat 2. You still only have one beat to change the chords, so that isn't really different between the two exercises. If you start at exercise 1 and work your way through to this exercise, you'll find that it's pretty comfortable to switch from D to A by this time. So let's take a look at an example of exercise 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 4. A, 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 4. D, 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 4. A, 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 4. By this time, you should be pretty comfortable. So we're just going to jump right into doing our 12 measures and working everything out. Remember, if you make a mistake on any measure, skip it and move on to the next measure. As long as you're there on beat 1 of the next measure, everything should be fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. D, 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 4. A, 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 4. Remember to take your time while working through videos like this. The great thing is you can always go back and try something again. You can pause it. You can take the exercise out of the video and work on it on your own at a slower or faster pace, whatever is comfortable for you. If you enjoy this kind of a lesson, enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing and ring the bell for notifications. I'd really like to grow this channel, so every subscription helps tremendously. And the notification will just tell you when your next lesson is available. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I would love to answer them. Good luck and good practice.